Hi guys, I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be filming a video that I can't say I've seen anyone do. If they have, I haven't seen it. But I've seen similar sorts of things, but not a full video on this specific thing. So if you hadn't guessed by the title, it is the tack I use and why I've chosen to use that, the reasoning behind it all. And yeah, just a general chat about the tack I use. So I'm going to start doing two horses, so that's going to be Archie's tack and Milo's tack, and I'm thinking of doing an updated one because I know I am planning to make some changes to Archie's tack, but I kind of need COVID and lockdown to go away so that I can do that. So that is the situation. I'm then going to probably do a second video and do Fabergé and Finn's tack, but that will be in the future because Fabergé hasn't got his saddle yet because he's not backed. So yeah, I'm going to start with Milo's tack probably and talk you through that, and then I'll go on to Archie's. It would definitely have made more sense to film this at the stables, but I promise you the weather is absolutely disgusting today. And apologies as well if you can hear my dog paddling around. But I'm going to start with Milo's bridle. So Milo has a really plain Cavesson bridle with the white stitching. This is from Shire's. I'm not a massive fan of the headpiece. It's one of those ones that goes over, but I personally prefer this to the ones that have the leather that runs underneath them. So yeah, really plain for him. He was in a Micklem when I brought him back into work last year, and we had a really interesting session with a bitting and bridle fitting consultant, and she basically said she didn't think he liked the restriction or anything around his muzzle. He was incredibly sensitive in the mouth. Like literally you took a contact and his head was bolt upright in the air. And no, there wasn't any other issues, and he is now fine. So yeah, she just said to put him back in this, have it really loose, so there's no point in it being there, but it is. And then he has his reins and a neck strap because he's 4, he's a bit crazy. I have to say, I'm not actually proactive enough to grab my neck strap if anything was to happen, but it's nice to have it there. And it's also a good way as well if you have a neck strap. I tend to, with him, because he's very sharp and very strong, I pull my hands like back into my waist, so it's a good reminder to keep pushing them forward, so that I don't ride it over my hands. And then for his bit, he has this, which is a HP, I think it's a relief hanging cheek. It came from Horsemanship Saddlery on the recommendation from the bit fitting consultant. So it's kind of a bit like a miler. It's shaped, it has the roller in the middle, and he just seems to really like it. We had him in a Newshall, I think it was, and we spent 2 hours approximately outside when the woman came, trying loads and hundreds of different bits in and out of his mouth. Some we didn't even ride in because it was obvious as soon as we put it in they wasn't happy. So yeah, this was the one that he was happiest in, and he still wasn't that happy, but she said take it away, work with it and see how he gets on, and then we can also come back out. But he's gone really well in it over time, and it's something I'm very paranoid about changing now because he goes really nicely in it. He's still a bit unsettled in his mouth and occasionally in the contact, but he is only 4. So it's not something I want to change because the last time we changed a bit he was kind of alright but wasn't too happy. So we changed it for something we thought might make him a bit happier, and he completely lost the plot. And hence why we had the woman out to do the bridle and bit fitting. So this is Milo's saddle. My dog's now coming. Hi. This is Milo's saddle. He has an anatomic Kenton Masters GP in brown, and he wears a 17-inch saddle. You'll have to excuse this because I do need to tack clean. His girth is a Shire's Blenheim one. We have loads of these for our GP saddles, and they just fit and last really well. They clean up really well and they're not too expensive. This is elasticated both ends. And he also has Shire's stirrup leathers, again in brown. I think these say Adelphia. I'm not sure if that's the actual make, but they're very nice. And then he currently has another very dirty set of Kent and Masters stirrups. These are just metal, kind of in the gin style, and have Diamante down here. And I use stirrup socks on my saddles just to try and prevent them from being marked, and it also saves the stirrup leathers a little bit as well. I am looking to change his stirrups to the same ones that Archie has. I'm hoping to change them this month and get him a pair for his own saddle, because it's such a faff swapping stirrup leathers and stuff. So I'm going to show you, turn the camera around and show you this saddle because it's quite interesting for anyone that's never seen one like this before. So for anyone that's not seen the Anatomic GP, it has the movable blocks here on Velcro, the ones underneath, and then it also has the ones at the back which are movable too. But what's really good about this saddle, and why we went for it, is the half panels. So this is literally all you have under here. That's it. So just turn the camera back round. So we went for the Anatomic Kent & Masters GP for a couple of reasons. The first being it wasn't too pricey, it was second hand, but it was basically new. The second was that it fitted him, obviously, which was really important, and it fitted me. The third was the experience we've had with half panels previously. Archie's saddle used to roll. It was awful. We didn't find a saddle for years that sat on him straight, which is obviously not good for their back or the rider's position or anything like that. So we found a Barry Swain, which is the same as the dressage saddle I'm going to show you in a minute, but it had half panels and that worked really well for him. It's the only saddle for years and years we found that fitted him, because he has really cobby shoulders and it just used to roll all over the top of them. So that was why we decided to go for this, and it also had the adjustable gullet, so there was just so much ability to change it, which makes it really good, because we got it just after I backed him, so he was free. So he's obviously done growing, maturing since then, and will continue to do so. So I might maybe sell it in a couple of years or swap it in as part exchange for another saddle for him. But at the moment I'm very happy with it, and it's still fitting him well. You can obviously, it is flocked, so you can change the flocking as well. So it just seemed like a really good option when investing for him, rather than having to buy a new saddle every 5 minutes. Both Milo and Archie tend to wear the new pads under their saddles. I just like the D-ring straps, I like the way they fit. They tend to sit up and off the withers, and most of mine are dressage cut, just because dressage cut numbness sit well under GP saddles in my opinion, but GP and close contact numbness do not sit well under dressage saddles. So that is why pretty much all of mine are dressage cut, and obviously I do dressage, so it just makes sense. And then he also has a Acavallo gel pad. It's just like your bog standard gel pad. I would like to get Archie one at some point. He doesn't actually have one. I have looked at the VIP pads a couple of times, but I have heard mixed things. Some people say they don't work, and it's obviously an awful lot of money to invest. Both Archie and Milo wear the acoustic ears. Ours come from Lemieux, and we also have a pair of Protect Master, which has the infrared technology. Archie is incredibly sound reactive. He, at any noise, a couple of times he gets really annoying sometimes in summer and shakes his head a lot. He's got all his allergies, and flies are a really big trigger for him, and I've taken them off a couple of times, and even if you think it's quiet, that horse will hear everything, and he's just an absolute nightmare to ride. He's so spooky then. So he's just so sound reactive, and these really help. Milo's not so sound reactive, but they do again just help him concentrate and focus. So now I'm going to move on to Archie's specific tack. So he has this bridle. I'm not too sure where it's from. I actually got it second hand. but it's just a flash bridle with the white padding, and then he has just his reins and this loose ring Happy Mouth which has a port. I had him in a very similar bit, another loose ring Happy Mouth with a straight bar, and when he came back into work after his injury he was really narky on the bit. So we decided to change this because the mouthpiece on the other one was very thick. This is still quite thick at the ends, but it's obviously a lot thinner in the middle. So this just works, or seems to have worked really well for him. He's now really responsive in the mouth, he's really light in the contact, and just seems to really like it. He's still a little bit narky and argumentative in his lateral work and stuff, and just sometimes in general, but overall he is much happier. We did have a bitting, the same lady that we were booking, in the process of booking, to come and do him and see if there was anything else he preferred to this, and also to do him a double bridle, which will be in the next video if I ever make it. So yeah, we were in the process of doing that, but COVID put an end to that. So fingers crossed, once we get out we can get that arranged, because it's something I'd really like to do. He seems really happy in these. He was in a Muleshoe before, I think it was a Verbindend, if that's how you say it, and he just hated it. He wasn't very happy, he kept pulling it through one side of his mouth and stuff, just wasn't a fan. So we swapped him into the Happy Mouth originally, and he seems really pleased with these bits. So we've gone for this one now, and yeah, he's just really liking it, so fingers crossed it stays that way. So Archie wears a Barry Swain dressage saddle in a 17.5 inch, and he wears this every day now. He has a Barry Swain with the half panels that I talked about earlier in GP, but we just don't tend to wear that anymore. Occasionally, if in the summer he goes around the fields, we'll use it, but now he doesn't jump. It's kind of been made redundant. So this is a slightly older saddle, but it is still lovely. It has a really nice big seat, and he's very comfortable in it, and it fits him very well, which we didn't think, because this isn't on half panels. We didn't think we'd find a dressage saddle unless we could find one on the half panels that would work. So I'm very pleased that we did eventually find this. He's just swapped into a pro-light girth, which I do apologise is disgusting. He has a really good tendency, because of the way he moves in front, to flick sand all over himself. So this has a martingale attachment on the front, then the buckles and stuff like so, and the curve sits in between the legs, so when it's on it will sit like that. And he seems quite happy in it. His old girth was just, it was second hand originally, and it just wasn't really suiting him. He'd lost a lot of weight, and it was just, there was no more holes to go up on it basically. So we got this. This is a 22 inch for him, and it's the narrow version rather than standard, because he's on the 20 centimetre mark in between his legs. So we went with this one because he's not got a lot of room behind the elbow, and the standard we just worried would be way too big, and wouldn't let him have any freedom of movement. So this is actually synthetic, which makes it really easy to wipe over and stuff. We did have a leather one, which was an old Stu Carson girth, but this is really nice so far. And yeah, I can't say, they do say they improve forelimb extension and hock flexion. I can't really say I've noticed that. I'd say he possibly seems a little bit more forward in this than he was in his old one, but yeah. So he has, I cannot kneel like that, he has Shire's stirrup leathers, same as Milo's but in black, and then he has a Cavallo opera stirrups with the flags on, and they're just really good. They have a really wide like cheese grater type tread, and that just really suits me. I find my feet are much more stable in their position and stuff, and yeah, I'm just really happy with his tack setup. So these are the suede panels on his saddle. He also has built-in knee blocks, And yeah, it's just a really nice, well-fitting saddle for him. So that is basically a rundown of the tack I'm currently using on my 4-year-old Milo and Archie. If anyone's remotely interested or doesn't know, Milo is 4, so he's working kind of prelim level, doing some novice stuff as well at home and doing some leg yield and things. Turn on the forehand, and Archie is currently competing, or has competed up to elementary, and he's now training his half pass, his walk pirouettes, and his travers and stuff. So yeah, if anyone's interested, that's the level and standard and stuff that they're at, and the tack they use. If anyone has any questions about any of the tack I use, feel free to either message me on Instagram or leave them down below if I haven't explained anything, and I hope you enjoyed. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.